He tried to please everyone. Then the bridge collapsed. One night during heavy rain, a bridge collapsed in a small village. But something was strange. The bridge had been built only a few days earlier, and the man who built it was known as the kindest person in the village. He always helped others. He never refused anyone. But that night, standing in front of the broken bridge, he realized something important. Sometimes trying to please people can destroy the very thing you wanted to build. This is the story of a man named Ethan, a broken bridge, and one question about how we should make our choices. It was raining heavily that night. A few villagers were standing near the river. One of them said quietly, "The bridge collapsed." Another answered, "But it was perfectly fine yesterday." The wooden bridge that crossed the river was now completely broken. The strong current had already carried away half of it. The remaining part was shaking in the water. It looked like it could collapse at any moment. No one dared to step closer. The man who built the bridge was known as the kindest person in the village. His name was Ethan. Ethan almost never refused anyone. If someone asked for help, he would say, "It's okay. I'll do it. Don't worry." Because of that, people liked him, at least in the beginning. Several months earlier, the villagers had gathered together. Someone said, "We should build a bridge across the river." Without a bridge, people had to walk a long way around. The villagers turned to Ethan. "Ethan, could you build it? You are the most reliable person here." Ethan thought for a moment. Then he nodded. "All right," he said. "I will build it." When the construction started, an old carpenter approached him. The carpenter spoke slowly. "There are standards when building a bridge. You must dig deep foundations. You must place the stones firmly. And it will take time." Ethan nodded. The carpenter was right. That was how a strong bridge should be built. But the villagers had different thoughts. "That will take too long. We need the bridge now. Can you build it faster?" Ethan looked at their faces. He saw their expectations, but he also saw their disappointment. And in that moment, Ethan made a choice. "All right," he said, "I will build it faster." "Can you build it faster?" The villagers smiled. "Of course, Ethan will help us. He's such a good person." So Ethan did what the villagers wanted. Instead of digging deep foundations, he made them shallower. Instead of carefully placing the stones, he worked faster. The bridge was finished much sooner than expected. The villagers were happy. "Now we can cross easily, thanks to Ethan." Ethan smiled quietly. At that moment, he believed he had done something good. But only a few days later, heavy rain began to fall. The river grew wider, the current became stronger, and then the bridge collapsed. The villagers were angry. "Why is it so weak? This isn't a real bridge. If we had known this." Ethan stood there, unable to say anything. He had only wanted to make people happy. Then the old carpenter spoke. "When building a bridge, there must be standards. If those standards are not followed, the bridge will collapse." The carpenter looked directly at Ethan. Then he asked a question. "Why did you accept the work of building this bridge?" Ethan looked confused. "What do you mean?" The carpenter continued. "Was it to please the villagers, or was it to truly benefit them?" Ethan answered slowly. "So people wouldn't have to walk all the way around the river. They could simply cross it." He paused for a moment. "And I didn't want to disappoint them." "Then tell me," the carpenter asked, "what standard should a bridge be built by?" Ethan stood there silently, and slowly he realized something. He had not followed the standards of building a bridge. Instead, he had followed something else. He had followed his fear of not being liked, his desire to be seen as a good person. Those feelings became the standard he followed. And the result of that choice was not approval, it was blame. The carpenter spoke again. "When we make choices, we must have a standard. If that standard is foolish, the result cannot be good." Then he added something more. "Long ago in this land there was an idea, Hongik Ingan, to benefit all people. This does not mean making everyone happy. It means doing what truly helps people. When our choices follow that idea, the result eventually benefits everyone. That night, Ethan sat by the river. He looked at the broken bridge, and he asked himself a question. Why did I make that choice? Was it really for the people, or was it because I wanted to look like a good person? Trying to please others often begins with fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being excluded, fear of not being seen as a good person. So we try to please everyone. But choices that truly benefit others require a different standard. We must ask ourselves, does this truly help people? Is this truly the right thing to do? So we must learn how to set our standards carefully. Several months later, Ethan began building another bridge. This time, the work took much longer. The villagers complained, "Why is it taking so long?" But Ethan did not rush. This time, he did not choose based on his desire to be liked. Instead, he followed the real standards for building a bridge. Finally, the bridge was completed. Even when heavy rain returned, the bridge did not shake. The old carpenter looked at the bridge and said quietly, "Now this is a real bridge." Ethan nodded. At last, he understood something. Pleasing people is easy. But benefiting people requires a standard, and it requires courage. The courage to step beyond the fear inside ourselves. Perhaps living as a human being means learning how to choose. Choosing not by fear, not by the need to be liked, but by a standard that truly helps others. Perhaps that is the real answer to the question of how we should live.